All right, folks, Monday night and late, but I'm early. I'm late and I'm early, and I'm also a flawed man of God. My name is Stuart Davis. I am a deacon at a small church just outside of Richmond, Virginia. I am a I'm not a pastor, not a biblical scholar, and I haven't been to seminary. I'm not trying to get you to join my church or donate to any special cause. What I'm here to do is talk about God, talk about Jesus, talk about the Holy Spirit, talk about the Bible, talk about Christianity, talk about a wide variety of different topics, current events, issues, and give you my perspective, from what I consider myself to be your average Christian guy. I've been a Christian all my life, 40 years non-denominational Protestant, not subscribed to any particular doctrine or denomination. I'm just in the Word daily, trying to do it better each and every day. So, if you are somebody who is new to Christianity, you are somebody who is interested in learning more about Jesus, if there is some sort of compulsion to you, if you have a voice in the back of your mind wondering if there's more to your existence than just your life here on earth, welcome to the show. Hopefully, you can get something out of this. Hopefully, you can get a very relaxed, very lay person approach to an explanation of what being a Christian is all about, what relationship with God's all about, what going to church is all about, and maybe dispel some rumors that you may have heard or picked up or some bad experiences you've had along the way. And by that, I mean most people might think that the Bible is a boring, dry book full of judgment, full of um, full of rules, full of guilt, and that church is a place that where people go because they want to look down on other folks, act hypocritically, and treat it as some sort of cultish societal ladder. It's not. It's not supposed to work like that. The Bible is definitely deep and rich and narrative, and it does have rules, and there is judgment in there, but there's also love, grace, redemption, hope, prophecy, um, proof, the Bible proving itself correct and proving itself right because it is so widely diverse and from so many different authors, divinely inspired and inerrant. And while church is full of flawed people like myself, you might run into somebody like me if you go there. That means that there are good churches and there are bad churches. There are congregations that have it who don't have your best interests in mind, but the right congregation is one that does want to bring you in, make you one of us, support you, and put you in a position where not only that you're saved, but you're also helping other people as well. So, like I said, maybe this very amateur take on Christianity will help springboard you um, into a relationship with God. So, with that said, and the introductions are all out of the way, thank you everybody for joining. I know I am a little bit later tonight. The wife was not feeling so well, so again, I was tending to the kids, and this is going to be something we're going to do. Be flexible this week, but I guess next week we're going to start with the new time being 8:30. New time, new time being 8:30 for the stream, at least for the foreseeable future. There may be a time where we're able to back it up at the 8, if that's something that the audience is okay with at that point. We might be something where we said, no, we like the 8:30 time slot better. It's whatever. But as always, I ask you guys to be flexible. This is not my this is not my job. This is really just discipleship and ministry and a hobby of mine. I love doing it. Um you guys make this fun for me, and it makes me feel good that you guys keep coming back for more um each and every night. So, like I said, how's it going? How's it going? Hopefully, you guys has had a good weekend, Happy President's Day for what it's worth. And we're getting ready to hit it. We're getting ready to hit it this week. Lent's coming up on Wednesday. I will be dropping off of social media. I will still be in Discord. I will still be on Facebook Messenger. I will still be using chat. But Twitter, Facebook, proper, I guess Instagram, I'm barely on there. LinkedIn, where I'm barely at, never involved. It is what it is. But I think getting away from that is good. It's always good. Guys, years ago, I deleted my Facebook profile. I never had a Twitter until I got this. It's all until I did this stream, only for the matter of going out and kind of promoting the stream. And while the promotion of the stream is kind of meh on Twitter, the resources and the guests I've been able to pull in from Twitter has been helpful. Otherwise, Twitter's garbage. Twitter's absolute garbage. Christian Twitter is a circular firing squad, all generally, though recently, the past few months have been relatively peaceful. Though everybody's chime the current what is the current controversy is Osprey College out there in Kentucky and this seemingly organic revival, and many people weighing in on whether it is an actual revival or not. Here's the thing. No, I will be streaming, Nico. I'm going to be streaming every night. YouTube does not. It would be stupid of me to walk away from something that I think is an effort to promote God for Lent. Because the whole point of Lent is fasting away from things that might take you away from your focus on God. We'll talk more about that on Wednesday. Maybe I can get my buddy Raph to come on. Maybe I'll get him to come on and talk about it, because that's just really mostly a Catholic thing. And he can do it well. He's come on here to talk about fasting before, physical fasting, spiritual fasting, etc. But what was I talking about before that? No. All right, let me go down the chats, and I'll eventually get down to you, Emmanuel, with that. And we'll get in there. Nico first. Leighton Catboy. Incorrect. I scheduled the stream for 8:30 before 8 o'clock, so I'm not late. Emmanuel, welcome as well. Oh, by the way, Nico, my son said that you're his favorite viewer on my show. He made these things. So he was over at his grandparents' house, my parents' house, this weekend, and they got him this things called Plus Plus, which is kind of just like these puzzle things. They almost look like Minecraft blocks that you put together. Looks like 2 plus signs you put together, or 2 crosses if you want to take the religious approach to this. And he made these Among Us characters. So obviously this is the body of the space guy with the bone sticking out. We've got just a regular astronaut spaceman from Among Us. He wanted me to show you guys these. He's got the Impasta, number 1, holding up a dagger, and Impasta number 2 doing that thing that the aliens do. And he also made this thing. It's supposed to be a TIE fighter. It's kind of a TIE fighter. It's not his best work. The Among Us character is really cool. He really wanted me to show those to you, and so I said I would. So hopefully you guys got a good glimpse out of that. Emmanuel says, "Hello there, everyone. I'm still getting used to the new time. Ease into it. Ease into it." And like I said, okay. So also the softball season starts in April. We're going to have a couple of practices before that. So we're going to think, so at least in April, Mondays going forward until the end of June I won't be streaming on Monday nights. I'll be playing softball. That's my church softball league. That's a place where I get fed very much with a lot of fellowship. We have good guys, and trying to get some of them to tune into this show and get them more in depth. MR popping in and out to say, hey, bar exam tomorrow. MR, very good luck tomorrow. Hope you have a very successful bar exam. How about that? Yeah, have a good night, guys. MR, I sent you a message in the Discord about Road Rage Philadelphia. Wondering if you were going, if anybody is interested, if you're following Nick, he's talked about it. Dick Masterson, kind of the group that kind of brought me, Nick, and a few others together. He's going to be having a show in Philadelphia in April, April 22nd. I will be going to that. I'm going to be buying tickets soon. But if you're interested in meeting me there you go. Perfect chance, perfect opportunity. Perfect opportunity. I'm going to be there. Nick Ricade is going to be there. Obviously, Dick Masterson's going to be there. Masterson's going to be there. I don't know him. I said we all gathered around that Facebook page. If you watched his interview with Rayson interview, that's how we all congregated together. A buddy of mine's going to be there as well. Hoping to have a good time. I always enjoy my time in Philadelphia. I always enjoy leaving. I don't want to live there because it's a city and it's got a lot of weird city ideas. However, the food is awesome. Love eating in Philadelphia. Nico wishing good luck. Forgot about the new time. Yeah, running your mouth, Nico. Blaine's in the chat. Hello, Mr. Blaine. Alex Moore, so many streams on tonight. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm one of them. Mr. Felty is in here. Matt Felty. Hello, welcome back. It sucked I wasn't here on Friday, but I'm here today. Hey, and Friday was okay. Friday was an okay stream. Wasn't my best work. I don't think I'm streaming Friday. I think I'm going to see a buddy of mine play a concert. I do that a lot. Show my support for him. He's awesome. Nico, hope she gets well soon. Yeah, it's the temperature change. It just kind of hits you hard sometimes, and if you don't get a lot of sleep, you just drag. If you're up all night the night before, you jag the next day. So I sent her off. She said, get plenty of rest. She's doing her thing. So, yeah. Smash ye yonder for like for glory. Yes. If you like this stream and all the small talk that I'm doing at the beginning, if you like the stream, if you like what's being presented here, if you want to help the channel, we are nowhere near the size necessary for me to have to use super chats to get attention to you guys. The chat, the group that I enjoy the most, I am way away from that. Way away from that. The intent of this stream is not as a money grab. This is not a grift for anything other than viewership. I don't care. If at any point in time I get monetized and we do get to some point where there is some sort of super chat system in place, 90% of what I get from YouTube revenue, from whatever, will go to a charity I will explain to you, and it will switch from month to month. I've already got charities picked out: the Fixed Ministry, Mo Hope, Mo Hope is a homeless shelter. They're all local places. The local Richmond crisis center for pregnancy crisis center, whatever. You know what I mean. I'm trying to remember the name of that. It's Monday. My brain's a bit of a mess, but the crisis never mind. It's a crisis center. It's helping mothers who are thinking about an abortion or feel like they're being forced into one, or do not know what to do when they're pregnant, and it's a resource to help them avoid that. Because look, we take a hard stance. A lot of us, myself included, take a hard stance on abortion. I have very, very specific, very personal reasons regarding this. It is something that is close to me. But we have to remember that this is a society for even though our religion, even though our faith, even though God's commandments have told us that this is a sin, a sin involving, and that life starts at conception, that is definitely a human being in there that you are murdering. Society has done everything it can to teach everybody, men and women alike, that it's not, and that abortion is just something that everybody goes through. And so it's easy to fall into that mentality. And if you think that you've got something, if you think that you've got something to lose, you've got more to lose by getting one than you will by not. You have everything. You have amazing things to gain. I have 2 kids that teach me day in and day out how much bringing children into the world is a life-altering experience that will do nothing but teach you and give you the opportunity to teach the child. So hit the like button if you want to support the show. Hit the like button. Hit the notification. Tune in. Comment. Be part of the chat. And the biggest thing that I can do to tell you to support this channel is to share it with other people. Encourage other people. If you're on another stream, if somebody's looking for something else to watch, just give it a shout out. Give it a shout out, and because nothing advertises better than word of mouth. Nothing. People hear it, people put it out there, people tune in, and they see this. Like I said, it's a relaxed stream. This is what we're all about. It's comfortable, cozy. It's a place for us to just shoot the breeze and talk about God. And that's why the chat makes it better, because it makes it more of an open forum, which is my favorite way to have Sunday school. So Nico said, no streams while offline. How long? We already answered this. I'm not going to be offline there. It's going to be strictly the social media part of things, not streaming, not doing the things that I do for God. So it's just getting out of that mentality, getting rid of Facebook. It was one of the best things for me. I loved it. Unplugging, didn't care, but I brought it back because I wanted to promote the stream on Facebook. And maybe one day it'll catch on over there. The manual question, though, do people on Christian Twitter still uphold people like Joel Osteen as an authority? No. No. Decidedly not. Joel Osteen in large part, among anybody who takes their faith seriously, is an island. He is an island, just like Kenneth Copeland is, just like a lot of these prosperity, Creflo Dollar, just like all these prosperity gospel folks are, because serious people see and understand what he's doing is a hustle. And what you see on Christian Twitter is generally people trying to be as serious as possible about things. I try to bring some levity to it, but I mean, all you have to do is go on to Babylon Bee and see how much they make fun of Joel Osteen. To see that in most Christian circles, he is not a serious person. He is a wolf. He is a grifter. He is a person that gives people the wrong impression about what the gospel really is, and he gives them incorrect things to expect from God. As a result for them exchanging their money to him. It's awful. I mean, Emmanuel, I know that I'm preaching to the choir with you on this and other folks on here, but I mean that's the general thought within Christian Twitter. Most of the two biggest factions that you'll see in Christian Twitter are the egalitarians and the modernists, the revisionists, and the traditionalists, the folks that hold on to traditional readings of Scripture. They don't want a return to tradition, to hold fast to what the Bible says in the Old Testament and the New Testament. So on the modernist side, you have your Andy Stanleys, your Kristen Dumays, your Beth Moores, your crap. I'm trying to remember that name of that stupid Catholic, that Jesuit Catholic priest. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. I'm sure we'll cover him again at some point. Who are just they want to take the Bible and just they use it when it's convenient and not and then dismiss it when it's inconvenient. And then on the traditional, more conservative side, I say conservative as a traditional side, not a political conservative, though they do tend to overlap a lot. On that side, then you have the infighting between the Presbyterians and the Calvinists, between the Papists, between the Ortho Bros and the non-denominationals like myself, who everybody just says is a Baptist, the Lutherans, the Anglicans, et cetera, et cetera. Everybody's arguing about who's right and who's wrong, and I'm sitting there in the middle going, guys, you've got so much more in common within your across denominations than you do with people in your own denomination who are trying to rot it from within. And that was the first thing that really hit me when I got on the Christian Twitter, was how caustic it can be against brothers and sisters who probably, if they really discuss the Bible from their hearts and from their souls, would agree on so much that the differences would be negligible. Maybe some doctrine, maybe some differences in interpretation on iconography or baptism and stuff like that, but it's not let's ignore commandments. So you should do a 24-hour Bible reading stream closer to God. Kill myself, which would not be the right thing to do. No, maybe I might do a 24-hour stream at some point if I ever got big enough, but I mean, there's no sense in, look, I get about 24 views per video. There's no sense in doing a 24-hour stream at this point. Oh, this is my proudest moment on this channel. Little Stuart is the best boy. He is the best boy. He is such a good boy. Maybe one day when he gets older, he'll watch these videos. Maybe I'll be gone and he'll see this and he'll be like, man, my dad really, really cared about me. He didn't just talk about it to me. He talked about it to everybody he met, how much I love him. Emmanuel, now that's adorable. How old is your kid? I just hope you don't show episodes 7 through 9 of Star Wars. He hasn't seen them. He's seen the original trilogy, and that's it. Maybe Clone Wars one day, because Clone Wars is awesome, but only seen 4 through 6. He hasn't even seen the prequels. He is 9, and my daughter is 6, working on 7. She's barreling down on towards 7. And he is just like me, and she is just like my wife. It's hilarious. We each got a little mini-me. You go, damn, that's some creativity work in there. Dude, he comes up with some of the craziest stuff. Like his mind is in action. I thought they were figures factory made. No. Yeah, they do. They look like some little Minecraft figure that you'd buy. Blaine Griff for souls every day. Always be grifting, right? That's going to make the that's the one thing I'm going to say it's probably going to be tough about going to the road rage thing. I'm mostly going there to hang out with other people. I stopped following a lot of Dick Masterson a while ago. We disagree on a few. We agree on on many things, but there are some things that he digs into which I'm very much against, or it seems like, and he seems to have a very big beef with religion, Christianity, the culture war that we are um, that we are fighting against degeneracy, and in many ways, he is a product of West Coast degenerate lifestyle. It's his choice, and I don't like what he says, but he's out there, and he is funny, and he does have a good mind for it. Be cool one day to see him really, make that change, and and convert and realize that there's more for him with all the potential and all the things that he's been blessed with, all the gifts of his mind and his wit. Um, it would be great to see him use that in a more productive uh, direction. Emmanuel, I just remember that he was a pillar of the community for about 13 years ago. So I'm a boomer when it comes to these things. I rarely use social media besides YouTube and Discord. Nothing wrong with that. I remember hearing about Joel Osteen. But you got to remember my late teens and very early 20s, I became very disenfranchised with church, with the establishment of a church. And for a long time, um, I walked away from church, not God, but church, because I had been hurt by the church, by the failings of people, and then my family right behind me was hurt by that same congregation. So I didn't want to have anything to do with it for the most part. I was almost immediately, once I left church, a buddy of mine almost immediately invited me to a small group that he was working with. I ended up becoming very close friends with the guy who was running it. Him and his wife had just been married. I started going to their church, and then I stopped because I went and deployed overseas. When I came back, um, I just wasn't in my best headspace about it. But eventually I came back when we moved back into town. Um, I asked him and I came there. And again, you get the right attitude and the right people as the creating the culture of the congregation. Um, and it's kind of mutual, right? The culture of the congregation is where you pull your elders from, and your elders help establish that culture as well. And so when they're both working together, that's what you get. You get a really strong congregation. You get a strong people who have very familial um, emotions, and the support and love that you get when you're going through good times and bad is breathtaking. And it really is a great example of what God wants from us as the church, as the church. Whereas the other side of the coin is if you've got a toxic culture, you've got people who really, superficial personalities, and folks who just do it because they're either going through the motions, their heart's not in it, but it's the thing that they feel like they're supposed to do. It makes them look like upstanding citizens, whatever. Then you get a bad church that will take advantage of you. And then you have the mega churches and some of the big pastors like Joel Osteen, where it's almost a factory. It's a factory, and they have different means, they have different goals, but there's always a money side to it. With Osteen, money is the main goal, I think. I just don't get how people will get addicted to other social medias, but that's just me. It's the scrolling. It's just the scrolling, and seeing opinions that you agree with and disagree with. Why can't we be friends? Why can't we be friends? That's all I see you in the middle. Texan Italian, welcome as well. Hey fam, am I too old to use to use this? No. I remember rotary phones. I had a rotary phone. All right, folks. We are half an hour in, so let's go ahead and get this rolling tonight. You guys are great. I read Balaam's donkey and explain Balaam's donkey to my son tonight because we were talking about the stream. We were talking about what I was doing. This is when he was talking to me about how he liked Nico, and I was telling him why I thought Nico was such a great part of the show, because we're getting the raw reaction. And now I've lost my place. What are we in? Kings 15? Kings 15 and 16. 2 Kings 15 and 16. We are over halfway, kind of still in the middle. And we are going to be talking about more kings of Israel and Judah. Let's see. Second Kings 15. Boom. All right. 2 Kings 15. Azariah, king of Judah. Also, welcome, Nernath. I realized I hadn't welcomed you here. How's it going, sir? Always great to have you here. Azariah, king of Judah. In the 27th year of Jeroboam, king of Israel, Azariah, son of Amaziah, king of Judah, began to reign. He was 16 years old when he became king, and he reigned in Jerusalem 52 years. His mother's name was Jechaliah, and she was from Jerusalem. He did what was right in the eyes of the Lord, just as his father Amaziah had done. Always great when I hear that. The high places, however, were not removed. The people continued to offer sacrifices and burnt incense there. Hernandez said, I wasn't welcome, so I left. The Lord afflicted the king with leprosy until the day he died, and he lived in a separate house. Jotham, the king's son, had charge of the palace and governed the people of the land. Odd. As for the other events of Azariah's reign, all he did, are they not written in the book of the annals of the kings of Judah? Azariah rested with his ancestors and was buried near them in the city of David, and Jotham, his son, succeeded him as king. So I wonder how many years he was king with leprosy. There's a footnote here. Oh, the Hebrew for leprosy was used for various diseases affecting the skin. Could be that he had what's that common skin condition? Your skin's real dry. I can't remember. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I meant what y'all know. The son Jotham, his son succeeded him as king and apparently had some eczema. Yes, eczema. Jotham has some. I like that. This is the best one yet, Nico. I do like that. Sus. The streamer is sus. So Jotham gets some on-the-job training with his dad, apparently still in action. He's getting a little bit of accustomed to things. In the 38th year of Azariah, king of Judah, Zechariah, son of Jeroboam, became king of Israel in Samaria. All right, so we've shifted from Judah to Israel. And he reigned 6 months. He did evil in the eyes of the Lord, as his predecessors had done. He did not turn away from the sins of Jeroboam, son of Nebat, which he had caused Israel to commit. Shallum, son of Jabesh, conspired against Zechariah. He attacked him in front of the people, assassinated him, and succeeded him as king. Here, I'll take that, put it on my head. Now I'm king. The other events of Zechariah's very short reign are written in the book of the annals of the kings of Israel. It's a paragraph long. So the word of the Lord was spoken to Jehu was fulfilled. Your descendants will sit on the throne of Israel to the 4th generation. Prophecy doing what prophecy says, guys. This is what I was talking about, the Bible proving itself right. One prophecy being fulfilled after another. So Shallum, son of Jabesh, became king in the 39th year of Uzziah, king of Judah, and he reigned in Samaria 1 month. 1 month. Starting to feel like Rome right now, the end of Rome. Then Menahem, son of Gadi, went up from Tirzah up to Samaria. He attacked Shalom, son of Jabesh in Samaria, assassinated him, and succeeded him as the king. I guess it's just king of the hill right now. The other events of Shallum's reign and the conspiracy he led are written in the book of the annals of the kings of Israel, because of course they are. At that time, Menahem, starting out from Tirzah, attacked Tipsah, and everyone in the city and its vicinity because they refused to open their gates. He sacked Tipsah and ripped open all the pregnant women. Menahem, king of Israel. In the 39th year of Azariah, king of Judah, Menahem, son of Gadi, became king of Israel, and he reigned in Samaria 10 years. He did evil in the eyes of the Lord. During his entire reign, he did not turn away from the sins of Jeroboam, son of Nebat, which he had caused Israel to commit. Then Pul, king of Assyria, invaded the land. There's an annotation here. Also called Tiglath-Pileser. Pul's better. Then Pul, king of Assyria, invaded the land, and Menahem gave him 1,000 talents of silver to gain his support and strengthen his own hold on the kingdom. Menahem exacted this money from Israel. Every wealthy person had to contribute 50 shekels of silver to be given the king of Assyria. So the king of Assyria withdrew and stayed in the land no longer. As to other events of Menahem's reign, all he did, are they not written in the book of the annals of the kings of Israel? Menahem rested with his ancestors, and Pekahiah, his son, succeeded him as king. Blaine says, is the annals, that's the annals, Blaine. No, I don't, the annals is something different and disgusting, okay? But the annals is more than that. The annals is more of like chronicles. Like the best way to, at the end of the Lord of the Rings, best way I can describe it, the end of the Lord of the Rings, they do the annals of the kings of Numenor and Gondor. And so that's the best, which they kind of just detail. It's a little bit more detailed, which is kind of weird because you'd think that this would kind of be the book for that, and it kind of is at some point. But apparently, there's a more protracted, more detailed accounting in the books of in the annals of the kings of Israel and the kings of Judah. Nico says, didn't see that in the movie. No, there's a lot you didn't see in the movie. Read the books. Read the books and read the Silmarillion. Just saying. In the 50th year of Azariah, king of Judah, Pekahiah, son of Menahem, became king of Israel in Samaria, and he reigned 2 years. Pekahiah did evil in the eyes of the Lord. He did not turn away from the sins of Jeroboam, son of Nebat, which he had caused Israel to commit. One of his chief officers, Pekah, son of Remaliah, conspired against him, taking 50 men of Gilead with him. He assassinated Pekahiah along with Argob and Ariah in the citadel of the royal palace at Samaria. Apparently, they were people noteworthy enough that they made their place known, made their names known here in the second book of Kings. So Pekah killed Pekahiah and succeeded him as king. The other events of Pekahiah's reign, all he did, are written in the book of the annals of the kings of Israel. Nernaeth says, annals, not annals. Annals are the highlights of the really important stuff. I think channels likes to cut, or I think channels like those cut through rocks to make their mark on history. Pekah, king of Israel. In the 52nd year of Azariah's king, In the 52nd year of Azariah, king of Judah, Pekah, son of Remaliah, became king of Israel in Samaria, and he reigned 20 years. He did evil in the eyes of the Lord. He did not turn away from the sins of Jeroboam, son of Nebat, which he had caused Israel to commit. Israel just sucks. Israel's awful. Judah so far, not bad. Mostly good, little bad. Still, even though they're doing the right thing, high places are still up there. They're really half-assing it, folks. I mean, they're doing good and honoring God where they can, but still half-assing it by leaving those high places up there. In the time of Pekah, king of Israel, Tiglath-Pileser, king of Assyria, Pul, came and took John, Abel, Beth, Makkah, Genoa, Kadesh, and Hazor. These are all places. He took Gilead and Galilee, including all the land of Naphtali, and deported the people to Assyria. He deported them. You're going back. Then Hoshea, son of Elah, conspired against Pekah, son of Remaliah. He attacked and assassinated him, and then succeeded him as king in the 20th year of Jotham, son of Uzziah. Which I guess Uzziah is also another name for Azariah. Jotham, the king's son. Let's see. I think they're the same person. So, in the second year of Pekah, son of Remaliah, king of Judah, Jotham's son Uzziah, king of Judah. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, hang on. Sorry, I read that way wrong. I was giving Tucker Carlson stupid face for a second. In the second year of Pekah, son of Remaliah, king of Israel, Jotham, son of Uzziah, king of Judah, began to reign. He was 25 years old when he became king, which apparently he had been acting as king for years before that. And he reigned in Jerusalem 16 years. His mother's name was Jerusha, daughter of Zadok. He did what was right in the eyes of the Lord, just as his father Uzziah had done. The high places, however, were not removed. The people continued to offer sacrifices and burn incense there. Jotham rebuilt the upper gate of the temple of the Lord. As for the other events of Jotham's reign and what he did, are they not written in the book of the annals of the kings of Judah? In those days, the Lord began to send Rezin, king of Aram, and Pekah, son of Remaliah, against Judah. Jotham rested with his ancestors and was buried with them in the city of David, the city of his father, and Ahaz, his son, succeeded him as king. Emmanuel says Israel is just straying into the whims of what they want to do without any respect to the Lord. Yeah, for the most part. I mean, Israel never gets a good king. After, like I said, after Solomon, Israel's just terrible. This guy king, he did evil. This guy king, he did evil. This guy king, he did right. Yeah. Look, it's very much like Judges. What changed? And here we go. And this is a great illustration, I think, because we're only a few books removed from Samuel when the people go, "Oh, we need a king because the priests keep doing bad things. They keep becoming corrupted, and you need to bring new leaders and new folks up here. We need a king to make sure that we're okay." You're kings, my friends. You're my kings. And instead of it just being a guy and maybe some of his acolytes, now we have the power of the throne, the power of the government, taxes, all the stuff that didn't exist beforehand, all that extra layer, it's there now. It's there now. And guess what? The same amount of corruption. And what happens with this? People are more likely to follow a leader with like official power. Whereas before that, you had a high priest or a main priest of the Levites, um, and certainly they were key figures, but they weren't they weren't lording over the land. They were making sacrifices. They were making rulings on disputes. They were interpreting the law for people. They weren't pronouncing edicts and making new rules or levying troops or taxes or any of that stuff. That's not what they were there for. Now, if God commanded him to do something, generally he would bring up somebody, a judge like Barak, like Samson, like some of those folks. But they were only there mostly to just accomplish a specific task, and then they would go back to obscurity, or they would just be act as a ipso facto or de facto leader. But there wasn't any official reason for people to follow them other than God smiled on them enough to give them a specific task, and that means that they were privileged enough or they felt like the guy was good enough to follow. Right? Be like, okay, well, he did a good job leading us out of this. We'll follow him. But it wasn't like his son comes after and he's like, oh yeah, well, this same title applies to me. It's not there. That's not how it is. But we have it here. Dun, 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 dun. I present you with government. Government. And God's disdain for the government. He does not think it's a good idea. You guys aren't going to like this. Give it to us anyway. Alex Port, yes. Judges. All right. Last one, I think, is just one. Chapter 16 is all dedicated to Ahaz, not Ahab, king of Judah. Will there be any difference other than one is well after Ahab and king of Judah instead of Israel? Let's see. In the 17th year of Pekah, son of Remaliah, Ahaz, son of Jotham, king of Judah, began to reign. Ahaz was 20 years old when he became king, and he reigned in Jerusalem 16 years. Unlike David, his father, his great-great-grandfather or whatever. Unlike David, his father, he did not do what was right in the eyes of the Lord his God. He followed the ways of the kings of Israel and even sacrificed his son in the fire, engaging in the detestable practices of the nations the Lord had driven out before the Israelites. He offered sacrifices and burned incense at the high places on the hilltops and under every spreading tree. Guys, this is what pisses me off. We were just talking about how much I cared about my son. I couldn't imagine somebody putting their kid to the torch as a sacrifice, right? And it's one thing with what happens with Abraham. He's got one God that he's following, right? He's following everything that he says. And he goes to do it. And he's ready to do it. He's committed. However, his hand has stayed. Poor Isaac. I mean, I guess good for Isaac, but also, he had to witness all that and be the brunt of that. Difference here is that same God is told people, and shown by his example that not to do. This is not the way to do things. And that I've brought you guys out of Israel. I brought you guys out of Egypt. I've given you Israel. I've helped you defeat your enemies. Here's the list of rules. Please follow them. Please do that. Nope. You get people, like, when you have that wholesome side that's very wholesome and very good and very free of all this stuff, but they can't help it. There is evil in the hearts of some men that I feel like is irredeemable, which is not really true because, we have a redeemer. You have folks who seem to have no interest in redemption. They don't care. They just want to lay down in their own hedonism, their own desires, their own sin because it makes them feel good. And look, we're all addicts to sin of some sort, right? But there's a difference between being addicted to it and and struggling with it and just giving into it and worshiping it. And that's exactly what we're sitting here. He offered sacrifices and burned incense at the high places on the hilltops and under every spreading tree and on the ashes of his dead son. It's upsetting. Nico says, whoa, how far the bloodline has come from David and son Solomon. Amen. Then Rezin, or Rezin, let's call him Rezin, king of Aram, and Pekah, son of Remaliah, king of Israel, marched up to fight against Jerusalem and besiege Ahaz, but they could not overpower him because they were just as evil. At that time, Rezin of king of Aram recovered Elath for Aram by driving out the people of Judah. Edomites then moved into Elath and have lived there to this day. Edomites, by the way, guys, that's Esau's tribe. Esau and Jacob, FYI. Ahaz sends messengers to say that Pul, king of Israel, I am your servant and vassal. Come up and save me out of the hand of the king of Aram and the king of Israel who are attacking me. And Ahaz took the silver and gold found in the temple of the Lord. Oh my gosh, he's pillaging the God's temple. And in the treasuries of the royal palace and sent it as a gift to the kings of Assyria. The king of Assyria complied by attacking Damascus and capturing it. He deported its inhabitants to Kir and put Rezin to death. To death. He's a mercenary. The mercenary king, Tiglath-Pileser, whatever. Bad guy. Then King Ahaz went to Damascus to meet Tiglath-Pileser, king of Assyria. He saw an altar in Damascus and sent to Uriah the priest a sketch of the altar with detailed plans for its construction. So Uriah the priest built an altar in accordance with all the plans that King Ahaz had sent from Damascus and finished it before King Ahaz returned. When the king came back from Damascus and saw the altar, he approached it and presented offerings on it. He offered up his burnt offering offered up his burnt offering and grain offering, poured out his drink offering, and splashed the blood of his fellowship offerings against the altar. As for the bronze altar that stood before the Lord, he brought it from the front of the temple, from between the new altar and the temple of the Lord, and put it on the north side of the new altar. Then King Ahaz gave these orders to Uriah the priest. On the large new altar, offer the morning burnt offering and the evening grain offering, the king's burnt offering and his grain offering, and the burnt offering of all the land of the people, and their grain offering and their drink offering. Splash against this altar the blood of all the burnt offerings and sacrifices. But I will use the bronze altar for seeking guidance. And Uriah the priest did just as King Ahaz ordered. You can all get bent. King Ahaz cut off the side panels and removed the basins from the movable stands. He removed the sieve from the bronze bowls that supported it and set it on a stone base. He took away the Sabbath canopy that had been built at the temple and removed the royal entryway outside the temple of the Lord in deference to the king of Assyria. This is disgusting. As for the other events of the reign of Ahaz and what he did, are they not written in the book of the annals of the kings of Judah? Ahaz rested with his ancestors and was buried with them in the city of David, and Hezekiah, his son, succeeded him as king. Hezekiah is a fun read. I'm looking forward to tomorrow night. Emmanuel says, remember, there is always going to be evil in their hearts, and it's good and it's up to good men to stop them. Damn, I can't imagine sacrificing your kid, period. But it's happened, and it's happening again. It's on the horizon, right? Abortion is such a easy decision to get led into. It's faceless. You're not holding the kid. They haven't held your finger, right? It's one of my favorite things to do with the babies. The little Babinski reflex where you put your finger in their hand and they grip it. It's so easy for some people, and we've groomed our culture into accepting it. What's next? I read in an article today that apparently Spain is trying to legalize or has legalized bestiality just as long as it doesn't as there's no damage to the animal that requires a veterinary visit. WWFD. It's disgusting, guys. You see this happening. We see the kids groomed and mutilated, given all sorts of pills and hormone therapy and all this stuff, and told that they aren't supposed to be happy with what they've been given, what God has blessed them with, whether male or female. We've seen these things that go on. It's currently more and more it's accepted, and it's hard to watch, right? People are chasing some weird, perverted, detestable parody of equality. They've lost the plot on what it does to the innocent and the future of our world, the future generations. They're doing this. We're supposed to be the smart folks. We're supposed to be the steward. We're supposed to be the parents who know best and bringing them along and looking out for them. But what do? They're getting groomed. They're getting propagandized. They're being told that the smallest amount of confusion or dissatisfaction with your biological gender is grounds to just change, and that all your problems will be solved by this, and all your problems will be solved by taking these pills, and all your problems will be solved if you just buy into the political ideology, and all your problems will be solved if you just vote for X. And none of these people ever seem happy. No matter how many pills they take, no matter how many Bill Maher episodes they watch, no matter how many rules get passed. It's never enough. It's never enough, and it never satisfies. That's the thing about sin. That's the thing about sin. Temporary, you get a temporary satisfaction because from the indulgence of it, and then there's emptiness on the other side, or shame, or guilt. It's never enough, and so you're constantly chasing that high. And if you're somebody who is chasing the high of some vice and sin, welcome to the club. But admit that it's wrong. Admit that you have a problem. Work at it. Understand that that you're not a perfect person. But don't give in to the idea that it's okay just because it makes you feel good for a few minutes or a day or however long, whatever it is. It's either masking the pain or it's causing more. And in a lot of cases, it's doing both. It's doing terrible, terrible damage to your soul. And what you end up getting and what we read in First and Second Kings, mostly Second Kings, is the cautionary tale of what happens when you just give up on on the fundamental principles that God set for us. And I get it. We're the killjoys, right? We don't want you to get drunk all the time. We don't want you to just have sex with whoever. We don't want you to view porn. We don't want you to do see all this other stuff. Because look, I get it. It feels like an infringement on freedom. You can do it. But look at the product of it. It's nothing to be proud of. It's the same. Many of the things that a lot of these borderline anarchists and, freedom to do all these things, freedom to do anything, folks complain about is a result of exactly what they want to create. They don't see it. It's kind of the interesting case that Christian nationalism tries to make. But again, I am skeptical. The premise of Christian nationalism seems cool, right? That's what we should strive for. However, I'm highly skeptical of that for the same reason I was talking about earlier with Christian Twitter. We can't even agree on the small stuff, and it causes us to yell at each other. Who's going to run that? And not another thing, Christian nationalism is what we're seeing at the beginning of Israel. And it only takes a couple of generations before that gets screwed up. In fact, you could say the first generation was screwed up from the beginning, Saul. But if we take it from David's point and move it forward, how's it going, Dresden? How many times we see two nations here? How many times it takes two generations for Israel to fall completely apart out of any semblance of caring about God? Unless they need him, unless they're calling out for him, unless he really punishes them, and then they're sorry. The same reason I'm sorry when I got my tail beat by my mom because I was mouthing off or I'd done something dumb at school. That's when they go, I'm sorry, just stop it. Just stop the punishment. They're not really sorry. They're going to go right back to it. That's how broken Israel is after two generations. And you see Judah, on the other hand, trying their hardest to stay pious, to stay righteous. But at the same time, they can't get rid of the high places. People are still obsessed with worshiping other deities. God's not giving me what I want. So maybe this just occurred to me just sitting here talking about it, because we've always wondered, why do they do this? God's not giving me what I want. I really want this. Maybe if I make an offering to another God, I'll get what I want. Maybe that's why this is going on. That seems like the most plausible reason to me why that would go on, because God doesn't give them the answer that they want to hear. They don't want to be patient like Sarah. They don't want to be patient, or they don't want to accept their fate like Job. Just want to do what they want to do. Maybe that's why. And once that stuff starts to take root, you have to make a very specifically determined effort to cut it out. This is the same struggle right now. Again, those high places being left, it's every modernist, every revisionist, every person who wants to tell you, well, the Bible probably wasn't right about this. Every Andy Stanley out there telling you to unhitch yourself from the Old Testament. Every Church of England affirming and acknowledging and supporting marriage, a marriage that God has never had anything but disdain for. Every pedophile in the Catholic Church, every sexual predator in in every Protestant denomination, they're all there taking advantage of it. They're all cancer. You got to excise it. And it's tough. It's tough. And we see kings that do what was good in the eyes of the Lord still falling short of cutting out that cancer. It's almost like you can't do it. It feels impossible. Try doing it in your own life. Try living that perfect life. Try cutting out that addiction. It's tough. Can be done. Not to the point where you're perfect. Never do not hold yourself. That is the goal. That is always the goal. But understand that you're not going to get it. Try your best. Try your best. All right. Butt sniffing in Spain. Yeah. It's weird. I'm not I haven't verified that, but that's Gateway Pundit was the source on that. I think it was Gateway Pundit. Emmanuel Osorio. I like cat girls, but it's anime crap. It's not real. Don't do it, people. Yeah, don't do it. Alex, nice. Another one that doesn't like cat girls. Emmanuel, yep. Even if you give in to sin, you become a monster. I'm sorry. Yep. If you give in to sin, you become a monster who has a stone of heart with no regards to most people. And if you look at porn or drink, it just takes you to a deeper and darker hole if you let it control you. That's the thing, right? That's the thing. The drink part is the getting to the point where you have no control over yourself and you desire it. Alcoholism. It's a big point. I'm not a Baptist. I don't believe you can't drink alcohol. Guys, alcohol's fine. It was Jesus's first miracle outside of the virgin birth. Turning water to wine. But you don't let it consume you. And there are plenty of tales of in the Bible of when you get blackout drunk, it doesn't end well for you. See Noah, see Jacob, see Lot. Emmanuel, what I hate is people acting like hypocrites, holier than thou. Oh, I'm better than you, but that person is a bigger degenerate than you are. Yeah, it's hard, and that's a hard part not to be a part of because, like, I yell and point the finger, and I yell at the Israelites, and I yell at the modernists and everything. I try to remember to rein in the fact that I sin as well, but I do have a big problem with folks who sin and then pretend it's not a sin. And I feel like that's a big there is a difference there. Like if they came to me and said, "Look, I struggle with X. It's different from what I struggle with. I struggle with X and I can't kick it, but I know what I'm doing is wrong." I can say, "Oh, yeah, I get it. We're on the same level, buddy." That's what I'll tell you guys when you with what you guys struggle with. We're on the same level. But the fact that they ignore it is corrupting to the church, the bride of Christ, right? So yeah, it's tough. This is something we all have to be cognizant of. Nico, yeah, isn't basically Whole of Kings showing how Christian nationalism don't work? I don't know the ins and outs of Christian nationalism. I haven't studied it enough. As I said, I want to have a discussion with Nick on either my show or his about, and we've talked about it just a little bit. We just haven't been able to schedule it because he's more libertarian. He fits into that the judges kind of in the judges portion of of the Bible on how it should work, and that's kind of where I land as well. But I don't know enough about Christian nationalism to really say, yes, it's that's what it is. But I feel like that's what I feel like. I don't trust politicians of any stripe enough to lead this country, especially with God on their lips. I don't. I don't like big churches. I don't like celebrity pastors. I don't want I want a politician that models his life in the Christian tradition, but I don't trust him. There's too many ways not to. That's why I said, look, guys, and Emmanuel, I know because I know you don't you want to be away from you want to get away from that doom pilling, right? That we see. Um, that's why you just got to focus on the day to day. Just understand the politicians are going to be corrupt. They don't have your best interest in mind. They're in it for money, power, and whatever else. It's not you. And it doesn't matter if it's your ideology being pushed or not. They still going to step all over you. So the best thing to do is focus on you, focus on your family, focus on your friends, impact the community around you, right? And it starts with the most intimate of relationships with your wife, with your kids, with your parents, with your siblings, with your close friends, right? With your mentor, with the people who look up to you. This is why the church congregation is so important. All that stuff that pisses me off if you turn on the news, go in and talk Sunday morning. Talk about God, talk about salvation, talk about how all of this doesn't really matter. What matters is what you're doing, right? And how you're setting your family and friends up for success as best you can. That matters. The rest, it's of the world. We can enjoy it and we can suffer from it, but it ain't part of us. Hot damn, everybody. Nernath, Israel was supposed to be a nation where God was king, but man wanted to pick a man that they could see. That's why Christian nationalism doesn't. I think you'd have to back it all the way up to Judges to really get it to work. But again, the idea of Christian nationalism is such a distant thing from even being plausible at this point, because you would have to the entire culture of our nation would have to shift to a godly focus to even get to that point. You couldn't have a minority just drive that. So, I mean, it's to me, it's just more of a theoretical discussion. And a lot of people I respect who have views that are in support of that are generally like, look, we understand this is not something that's probably going to happen, but this is what we should strive for. And I think I think that's common cause. I think the striving to change the culture for good to where something like that would be plausible is a fight worth the effort. Oh, Nico, who's the one who got drunk by his daughters and went on Alabama on them? Well, they kind of went Alabama on him because I think he passed out. But yes, it was Lot. It was Lot. And then you don't hear about him anymore. He just that was the end of him. Emmanuel, I like to tell people I'm going to do me, only follow the word of God and do the best to be faithful, but I don't go and Jude me. But don't go and Jude me because I don't think rock isn't a good genre of music to listen to or be a big media consumer, critique it as well. Emmanuel, here's the important question. What is your opinion on Sabaton? That's the important question on this show. If you ask Nernaeth, well, Nernaeth is the one who asks, actually. Or you should say, don't go and Jude me, or do you mean don't go and judge me? Because you don't. I've said it before. Look, we've got to work together. You don't have to like everybody or you don't have to. There are people that people at my own church that I love I love every single person who is a fellow believer in Christ. I want the best for them and whatnot. I don't like it. I don't like everybody. I am the one who asks you. Nico, yeah, at this point, you can't have Christian National without being authority. You would have to. Well, again, it also gets a bad connotation. It would have to be that way anyway. It's authoritarian. Here's the bottom line, Nico. Christianity is authoritarian. It's as authoritarian as it gets. There is no overthrowing God. There is no overthrowing God. You can't. Ultimately, we all submit to him, right? God wants us to be happy and wholesome at the same time. He doesn't want to be happy, and he doesn't want us to be happy in our sins. He wants to be happy and wholesome and in line and joyful in his commandments. And I think the way you see the moral decay the further we drift away from those commandments. Yeah, you you have free speech, but oh man, I'm gonna fall right into it. You can say what you want, but you will have consequences behind it. So no, it's not free speech, because then I'm gonna give free speech without freedom of consequences. No. You can make a choice, but you have to decide, is that important? You have to decide what's important. Yeah, at this point you can't. Yeah, it's. I think that Sabaton is great. I just type faster than what I see. My bad. Retard moment. It's okay. Liberals fantasize about Christian nationalism. Do you see Handmaid's Tale? Lol. That's the stupidest thing. Handmaid's Tale is such a cartoon of. That's not Handmaid's Tale. You don't see Handmaid's Tale in David's Israel. You don't see the Handmaid's Tale in Judges. It's such a silly concept. That's such a silly concept by liberal feminists that want to justify their own feminism, right? Because if they didn't have if there was no feminism, that was the world that everybody lived in. Like that world has never existed, at least in the history of the United States. But that was before feminism in the 1900s. All that was going on. And without it, we'd go right back to it. Such a stupid concept. It's so weak. It's such a I can't even get into it. It's so dumb. The difference is the under God, once we get rid of sin, we don't break the rules. And that's a good thing because the rules are perfect. Emmanuel, it's free speech under God, but just be mindful of what you say. It's like going into the hood and going in the middle of the street and saying, just ripping that slur out loud to see what happens. You could do it, but what's going to happen? See the beginning of Die Hard 3, right? But what's going to happen to you is up to God. Because there is no rules to be broken. Law rule is literally don't sin, but can't seem to follow such simple instructions so far in the Old Testament. We are flawed, though. We are fallen people, and it goes all the way back to Adam, biting from the fruit of the tree of knowledge. Whether you find that to be metaphorical or not, don't care. It happened in some capacity, and we have to live with that. But we can take joy that even though we have to live with that, we also get to live with Christ's sacrifice, right? Adam and Eve didn't want to sin until they got told about it. Oh, that's such a great look. We're going to end on that. Nernea, thank you for that. That's such a great. Adam and Eve didn't want to sin until they got told about it. But then they would have just bitten into it. He just said, look, we've got one rule in this paradise. One rule. And the reason it's there is because I know that you don't want to do it, that it's not going to end well for you. But don't bite from that fruit. You don't want it. All right, guys. I'm gonna cash it in for the night. Cash it in for the night. I'm gonna go in. I'm gonna play some Age of Empires 2. I'm in the middle of the El Cid campaign on hard. I'm gonna be playing on that and relaxing for the rest of the evening. Tomorrow, we get into Hezekiah. It's gonna be a fun stream. That's gonna be a fun reading. All right, so to everyone, to Nico, Emmanuel, Nerneev, to Dresden, to Mr. Felty, Alex Moore, Blaine, Texan Italian, MR, again, keep MR in your thoughts tomorrow. Keep MR in your thoughts tomorrow. The bar exam's a big test. Also, the same thing with Emmanuel. He's going to be taking his test for retaking his test for the CDL. We want flying colors. We want success for our chat. And we want comfort if they don't get the success that they're seeking. But either way, guys, thank you for this chat that you give me. Thank you guys listening in for your views. Remember, like and subscribe. Support the channel by talking about it. Advertise for me. I do a terrible job of it, but I do it where I can. You guys can. The more people we got talking about it, the more people we're going to bring in. You guys, y'all take it easy. To the folks listening on the replay, same thing. Glad you're catching up. We're going to make it. We're going to make it. And to Wild Weeb, wherever you are, have a good night and God bless.